Spell of Plato. The Spell of Plato, and the subtitle of the second volume is The High Tide of Prophecy. The High Tide of Prophecy, Hegel, Marx, and Aftermath. Hegel, Marx, and Aftermath. Fine. So I hope you are understanding. So these are the books where Karl Popper has discussed Plato and Hegel and Marx as an enemies of open society. Fine. So first of all, you should know what is an open society and what is a closed society. What is an open society and what is a closed society? Write in your copies. What is an open society and what is a closed society? Open society means liberal, democratic societies, and closed societies means totalitarian societies. So, in open society, we can give the example of USA, India. In closed societies, we can give the example of China and Iran. Fine. So Karl Popper calls Plato as a father of totalitarianism, means as a champion of open society, as a champion of closed society, or as an enemy of open society. Fine. Now we will go more deeply into what is an open society, what is a closed society, and why Karl Popper is against the closed society, and what arguments Karl Popper gives to call Plato as an enemy of open society. Okay, so in a broad sense, we have seen that open society means democratic society. Okay, now you can write that Karl Popper was a critic of totalitarianism and the supporter of democracy. Karl Popper is a critic of totalitarianism and the supporter of democracy. Okay, so write in his book Open Society and Its Enemies, Karl Popper has given criticism of totalitarian societies and justified open society. Justified open society. Fine. Now just write a little background of Karl Popper. In your copies, just write the background of Karl Popper. Right. Karl Popper was once very much influenced by Marxism. Karl Popper was once very much influenced by Marxism. But later on he realized Marxism as a dangerous doctrine. Later on he realized Marxism as a dangerous doctrine. Right? Why? Right? During his time, he has witnessed the growth of totalitarian societies. During his time, he has witnessed the growth of totalitarian societies. Example, former USSR and Germany under Hitler. Right? In both the societies, there was excessive use of violence. In both the societies, there was excessive use of violence. Right? Karl Popper could never accept the loss of human life. Karl Popper could not accept the loss of human life, which happened because of Stalin's purges or Hitler's, you can say Hitler's atrocities on Jews and wars, etc. He could never accept this, right? Hence, Karl Popper came to the conclusion that only democratic societies, that is open societies, provide opportunities for development and growth or the flourishing of human civilization. Only liberal, democratic and open societies contribute for the flourishing of human civilization. Whereas totalitarian societies like China or that time USSR or Germany under Hitler, unlike totalitarian societies which are regressive societies because they suppress human freedom, they suppress the liberty, freedom, creativity. Fine. And according to Karl Popper, the closed societies can never achieve excellence. For excellence, there should be freedom and there should be rights, there should be opportunities for development. Okay. Now, in order to understand the concept of open society, we also will have to understand one very important contribution of Karl Popper, that is the concept of falsification. Fine. So, right, in order to understand the concept of open society, Karl Popper suggests that, in order to understand the concept of open society, we will have to understand the concept of falsification. the concept of falsification given by Karl Popper. Okay, I will explain what is falsification, but before that, let us find that or let us just write. So in order to understand his concept of open society, we have to understand his concept of falsification. Okay, right. I will explain this. So, but just write. Karl Popper has called Plato, Hegel, and Karl Marx. Karl Popper has called Plato, Hegel, and Karl Marx as enemies of open society because of the following philosophical predispositions. In their thoughts. Following philosophical predispositions in their thoughts. What are these? One is holism. Second is essentialism. Third is historicism. And fourth is utopianism. So, in all totalitarian societies and in all totalitarian systems, we see the justification or the common thing in the philosophy is holism, essentialism, historicism, and utopianism. So later also you will also have to study totalitarianism, and even at that point of time you can give reference to the Karl Popper's ideas of holism, essentialism, utopianism, and historicism. And for this question you will have to give very, very specific answer. Okay, so now first of all we will discuss what is an open society. Then we will discuss how these concepts are linked to open society. Then we will discuss Plato as an enemy of open society, and then we will discuss Popper's criticism of Plato, and then we will see whether Popper is justified or not. We will also see whether Popper alone has called Plato as an enemy of open society, or there are other scholars also who subscribe to this point of view. Okay, so it is a sort of an academic question. So I will first explain what is open society. As such, I told you, open society means liberal democratic society. Fine. But if you want to write on an open society, how should we write? Fine. So you can say that, right, the concept of open society given by Karl Popper can be understood on the basis of his concept of falsification. The concept of open society given by Karl Popper can be understood on the basis of his concept of falsification. Okay, so now let us first understand the concept of falsification. So here you write, Karl Popper has given the concept of falsification in his book, The Logic of Scientific the logic of scientific discovery. The logic of scientific discovery, which was published in 1934. The concept of falsification was given by Karl Popper in his book, The Logic of Scientific Discovery, published in 1934. Fine. Now write the context of this work. Context of the work, The Logic of Scientific Discovery. So, there was an academic movement in the social sciences known as positivism or logical positivism. Positivism means scientific methods. Positivism as a word is more commonly used in sociology. In political science, scientific method, we also use the word behavioralism. Fine. So, 30s was a time when in philosophy, positivism was developed. Fine. And there were scholars like Wittgenstein associated with the Vienna Circle, and they suggested that we can accept only that theory which can be verified. In political science and in political philosophy, a lot of theories exist which cannot be verified. So if your theories are not verified, then the theories are actually not theories. You can call them as speculations. So the philosophy should not be just an speculation. Philosophy should be a credible knowledge, and for that we have to develop the scientific theories, and the attribute of scientific theory is verification. Okay, so write it down. Right, there was an academic movement associated with the Vienna Circle. There was an academic movement associated with the Vienna Circle. Right, the scholars associated with the circle proposed positivism. The scholars associated with the Vienna Circle proposed positivism. Right. Positivism in social sciences represent scientific method. Positivism in social sciences represent scientific method. Right. The scholars of Vienna Circle recommended the need to build scientific theories. The scholars of Vienna Circle recommended the need to build the scientific theories. Fine. Next you write, what is the feature of scientific theory? What is the feature of scientific theory? Right, scientific theory or scientific method. Fine. The feature of scientific theory or the scientific method is verification. Verification means proof. Something exists and you give a proof of it. That is called verification. Fine. So I say all swans are white in color, and I also verify that all swans, whichever swans I have seen, are white in color. So my theory that all swans are white in color gets verified. So that is called verification. Fine. So Vienna Circle scholars, they basically proposed verification. Fine. So verification as a concept tells that whatever knowledge you give, if you prove that, that knowledge is accepted. Now in place of verification, Karl Popper said the real or the better scientific method is falsification. falsification. He said, don't go for verification, go for falsification. So falsification means my theory is open for getting falsified. Fine. My theory can be open, should be open to get falsified. My theory should be open for rejection. Fine. So for example, if I give this theory that all swans are white in color, but one day I find a black swan also, then my theory proves wrong. Fine. So he says that the attribute of a scientific theory is falsification and not verification. So I think that's all for today, because a lot of terms are involved in this topic. I want that you understand this topic with a fresh mind, so that you do not feel a difficulty in understanding. So I'm stopping it here, and tomorrow we will discuss in detail, and I think tomorrow we will starting with Aristotle also. You go through the previous year questions of the Plato provided by the institute, and if you want to ask any question, you can also ask. Till then, thank you, goodbye.